black people should stay out of Japan. And by that, I do not mean that I do not want black people in Japan as if I am in Japan or Japanese, because I am neither. And I'm also not saying black people should stay out of Japan because other people do not want them there, and can't even respect athletes and pageant winners who represent Japan such as Naomi Osaka and Ariana Miyamoto. Nor am I referring to Weibo 101 phenomena such as the suicide rate, the earthquakes, the monolingual culture, and work-related deaths. Even though those are some pretty damn good reasons why black people should stay out of Japan. But no. The main reason black people should stay out of Japan is because the black gaijin community in Japan is weird as fuck. From the moron live streamer who keeps harassing Japanese people to the chick passing off being a hoe as comedy, a hoe as she called it herself. And not to mention neither of these two individuals will be called black in the country they came from, with one being Arab and the other being Hispanic or Morena. Morena means brown. See? If she identified as black, she'd say negra. These two can easily identify as Arab and Hispanic, yet automatically upon having brown skin and curls in a homogeneous country they are considered black, and it's unfair to automatically share an umbrella with such turds. I can also assure you that such people honestly thought they weren't black, and going to Japan as a troll and as a hoe while being regarded as black and dealing with racial backlash has backslapped them with reality, and now they concede to identifying as black and purport to represent black people. But I call it misrepresenting. Unless people like them have pathological issues, which I don't put past them, and truly do identify as black but also think their behavior is acceptable. I won't put their faces up because they have enough clout as it is. In fact, that's all they intended to do. Go to Japan for clout. Vapid individuals will be laughed into natural obscurity and shamed and deported from probably anywhere else, but in Japan, the most remote first world country on the planet, apparently this is unique behavior. Well, for me it's egregious and embarrassing, and I don't want to share a reputation with them since the black gaijin community will be auto-assigned to me if I went to Japan, and the black gaijin community weirdly creates legal issues for itself and climbs on virtual soapboxes and conveniently use being black or being depressed to dissuade criticism that's well due. The sole reason I myself as a black person have decided sadly to erase Japan off my bucket list is ironically because of the black people there. From the sexpats to the criminals to all the middle-aged cosplaying weeboos and karaoke visitors in between. You know good and damn well you don't look like Sailor Moon, and please stop ruining the Inuyasha theme songs. Imagine getting a whole visa and going to a whole different continent. Just to embarrass yourself. Let's start with the two types of people I've already discussed, the trolls and the hoes. If I give these people the benefit of the doubt, I can say the brown guy is trolling because he thought it would be funny and cool to yell in a quiet country, and to show he isn't scared to get attention and stand out as an extreme minority in the country. Okay. But if you're the only one laughing and you're getting zapped in the face by salarymen and schoolgirls, it's time to put the camera down and log off. And maybe even buy a flight back home before Hiroshi and Megumi turn you into sushi and sashimi. And no one's gonna help you. Hell. I'm not gonna help you. No GoFundMes, no Cash Apps. And let's say the hoe is copying off of white male sexpats who also have yellow fever as she does, and she wants to dispel the reality deemed a myth that Asian men do not want black women. Well, she was not included in that group of black women since she does not have the Afrocentric features that Asian men rebuke, such as dark skin and hard hair. Little did she know, she'd still be classed as black however and treated badly. I can see where this is causing her brain cells to pop. But don't taint the reputation of black foreigners in the process. If you're having a breakdown, turn the camera off. Now let's get down to the male sexpats and passport brothers. Oh yes. I didn't forget about you assholes. Face it, boo. Asian women mostly don't want you. Unless it's for a green card or money, both of which they tend to get from white men if they are so desperate for a foreigner. It's not okay at all. But that's how it is. So stop crying on social media about your dating woes. Moving on. The next issue with Black Gaijin in Japan is that black women cry about their dating woes on YouTube even more when it comes to Asian men. And this is probably where the Morina Ho came in, self-deprecating that she gets dick all the time, albeit while being a version of black that's more acceptable around the world, but mentioning this flagrant fact is not as marketable. Many YouTubers have become rich by exploiting the dating struggles of black people in Asia, especially black women, and they stop Asians in the street and ask if they would ever date a black woman, and every black woman watching holds her breath. But let's backtrack really quick. What happened is that sometime around 2012, a little dancing Korean man broke the world record for the first video with over 1 billion views. I'm sure most of his viewers were Asians, who probably had just experienced the ripple effect of smartphone technology and the social media evolution rolling out from the USA. During this time, social media was revolutionizing, as did the smartphone technology, and in 2013 more than half the world had touchscreen smartphones. Just look it up. But if you do look it up properly. Do not get confused with auto-generated dates on Google saying the first smartphone was invented in the 90s and the first touchscreen was in the 60s and the launching of Twitter, YouTube monetization and iPhones was in 2007. We all know the average person did not profit from nor use social media on touchscreen smartphone technology until the 2010s, when millennials were all grown up and could afford such things. I say all this to say that it was in 2012 that the first prolific YouTube influencer became such, and that's PewDiePie. And it was ever since then YouTube became what it is today, catapulting from hobby vlogs to people looking distinctly for profit a la PewDiePie, who got rich off of gaming tutorials and camera chatting. So then over the next couple years people started doing other tutorials such as beauty, and they started doing storytimes about nonsensical and largely untrue anecdotes mostly relating to relationships or bizarre experiences. And then people just started getting on YouTube about any damn thing. And in 2015 a video was made about black people in Japan where they told of their experiences. And from there, every black person in Asia and their mama decided to start their own spin-off channels to try to capitalize off of this, even going so far as creating an acronym known as AMBW, which means Asian Man Black Woman. And people even got in fake YouTube relationships to try to go viral. I won't even bother showing or naming those embarrassments. But 99% of them are not even in those relationships anymore, and their channels are kaput. While this was a struggling corner of YouTube, it was a corner indeed that is now pretty deserted, and where it's not a desert, it's a swamp-ass mess which started around 2019. Not only were the Ambu couples embarrassing themselves, but another interracial couple known as Jamie and Nikki, though not Ambu, broke up in 2019. Before then, they were the only black interracial couple to captivate viewers easily. When they broke up, people ran to the only seemingly stable black interracial couple left, and it was Maze Lee. Ambu couples could not compete with them by resorting to boyfriend tags, Q&A tags, ice cream dates, prematurely debuted How We Met videos, being exposed for being in a fake relationship, not having children, dating a guy who barely speaks English, or losing support after breaking up. Not only that, black women exposed themselves when they kept posting about their dating struggles in Asia, which quickly buffed the novel romanticism and appeal. A black woman in Korea weirdly cried in a YouTube video discussing getting assaulted in Korea by a guy she met in the club and that she would be closing her channel. And at the time, she probably had the most popular Black in Korea channel. This brings us into the next issue. Black Gaijin YouTubers deem themselves unique individuals, which attracted other people who do the same. While working or studying abroad is an incredible lifestyle that everyone should experience at some point even once, black foreigners, for some reason especially the ones in Japan, seem to have nothing else to talk about and only insulted their experiences. Perhaps they didn't want people to think that they are the yellow fever weebos that they actually are due to so much outraged responses to the Asian men those YouTubers decided to show saying they want date black women, and so they just denigrated Japan instead. Don't sugarcoat, but if you went to Japan because you like anime and weird porn and used being a student or teacher as a golden ticket to the factory, it's okay. Just say it. Don't get on YouTube saying you hate Japan, you can't wait to leave, and let me give you 5 tips on how to deal with racist Japanese people or perverts. Not all gaijin YouTubers and bloggers do this, but most do, especially between 2015 and it died down when travel died due to COVID lockdown in 2020. Not only does this further humiliate black gaijin as a miserable bunch, it also discourages future black gaijin. The next issue is that it seems all black gaijin hang out together. While it's great to have a community, it can also be boring and annoying speaking to the same people every day. The idea is that a community can prevent loneliness, but self-segregation creates loneliness. Life can be an adventure, but for God's sake, learn the language of the country you decided to go to, and hang out with who you want. Then you won't have to travel 3 hours to the prefecture that has the only black event or person you know there. I'm sure you didn't go all the way to another country, just to hang out with the same people you would back home. So anyway, black people shouldn't go to Japan. And it's not because certain YouTubers show clips of a few Asian men they solicited in the street rejecting black women. And it's not because Naomi Osaka got told to bleach her skin. And it's not because Japanese people are stressed at work. And it's not because there's no English anywhere. And it's not because it's so far away. And it's not because there's earthquakes. And it's not because Korea has surpassed Japan in almost every venture and industry that Japan was once the reigning champ of in Asia. It's because black gaijin, especially the YouTubers and live streamers, will force you to live there with the horrible reputation that they created for black people single-handedly. Now if you do go to Japan anyway, make sure you learn the language and form a positive reputation as well. You never know who's watching.